So I'll get started. People can trickle in. The beginning isn't that important anyways. I'm Jake Simons. I am an open social explorer. I'm also a performer turned software engineer. By open social explorer, basically I mean like for the last little bit, if I would hear about a social network, I would join it. I don't do that anymore. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's like a Cambrian explosion right now. Nobody knows what's going on. There's 1,000 things. A lot of them do one thing better than all the other ones, so it's kind of an interesting time. I don't have a favorite network. I have networks I know best. But the thing about open protocols that I'm going to talk to you about is that when they're truly open, you don't have to have a favorite because they interoperate, and that's kind of the killer feature. And I see social media as engineering the primitives of human relationships and community. Like you have an idea, you have a thing you want to exist in the world. Welcome, you're not missing anything, just tell them kind of who I am. When you have something you want to exist in the world, what are your building blocks? Discord servers, subreddits, Facebook events, Luma events, right? And there are better primitives. Not necessarily better primitives for your event next week. I made a Luma event. There's open event things, but I went with Luma for this. Nothing wrong with closed social. I'm on all the traditional social medias, but open social, you shouldn't sleep on it. So open social, open source plus social media. That gets you in the right ballpark. I don't know exactly, I didn't know who my audience would be, but like, should it be down? Yeah, thank you, Al. I'm pretty loud. Jack, can you hear me? I prefer this. Is this okay? Okay. All right, Jack, if you can't hear me, this feels better. I have more experience talking loud than talking with a microphone. So, open source plus social media, and you're pretty close to open social. Not there, but you're pretty close. So the other way is think about protocols, not platforms. So if Elle is on Microsoft Outlook and Randall is on Gmail, they can email. If you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook, even though Facebook and LinkedIn are like kind of the same thing, the same primitives, you can't do stuff, right? So on open social, you can just do things. And LLMs help a lot because LLMs love those dense specifications that I'll get into. So when you work in closed social, no shade to Influize here, he looks like a nice guy, but you're kind of like a witch doctor because Instagram doesn't tell you how Instagram works. And say you reverse engineer Instagram, it's just going to change next week. So you're stuck in this world of like, what's true, what's not true, linking comments, does that matter? Do my followers matter? Like, no one knows what's going on. Working in open social, now we're talking, right? We got fucking JSON. We're talking about how do we serialize our data. We're talking about DNS. So my handle on Nostr and at Proto, actually I had a joke in the first slide. I'm jkesimons.com on Nostr, at Proto, and HTTP, right? Because that's an open protocol too, right? So when you're on the open social, you're in the problem space of software engineering. And isn't that a better place to spend your days? Like, aren't you actually going to learn something about distributed engineering along the way? So this is from an organization called BridgeFed that actually lets you kind of go between protocols, which is really cool. So can open social turbo boost your follower count? Not really. Does anybody watch? I think you should leave. Great show. So you're not here. I think there were more people for the how to get 100,000 followers talk. This is not. You're not going to get 100,000 followers on open social. I have one follower on Nostr. I put Nostr in the title of my talk, and I have one follower. But then Nostr is actually funny because Nostr is truly decentralized, so I might have more followers, and the relays would actually not necessarily catch all my followers on the decentralized network. Also, like questions when they come up, I would say like feel free to ask them, especially if it's like I'm saying things where it's like, what did that word mean? Those are good questions to ask right now. But yeah, you're not gonna get a lot of followers. I'm giving a talk on open social and I have like 300 followers. And so let's get the bad things out of the way about open social, about protocols. Everything is public, including blocks. It's social media. Say you run into someone who's unstable and weird, and you block them. They'll know it, right? That unstable weird person can do one click, right? And so there's things like that, warts right now in open social, because keeping it public makes everything else work, that are just like, be aware of that. It's really not ideal. People are working on it. Another bad thing, the easy open socials aren't decentralized. The decentralized open socials are not easy, right? The vibes are mixed, right? There's good pockets. It's also still social media. So like, it hasn't and it won't solve everything. The cold start problem is brutal. Nobody's there yet, really, right? Nobody's there yet, so your friends aren't there yet. And social media is more fun when there's people there. So you will have very few follows. But what even is a follow, right? So this is where I get excited about open social, because on Instagram, a follow is a row, or probably a document, it's probably NoSQL with their loads, in someone else's database, and they won't tell you the schema. On @proto, to have one example, @proto is the protocol underneath Blue Sky. A follow is just JSON, right? And so let's pretty print it, and this is just a JSON record. And not only is it a JSON record, it's a JSON record hosted by Bailey. And Bailey maintains this website. So my follow means that the key, and we'll get into all this more, but like I have a decentralized ID and it has a unique barcode to me, right? My key lives on Bailey's computer. And that means that Bailey follows me on @proto. But my key now just lives there, and I could use my decentralized ID for other things. So that relationship could actually last beyond it, right? So I think that's kind of cool. How do I get back to it? There's how I get back to full screen. It's like today it's small, but you get quality over quantity. So I have, on the one I'm most active on, @proto, I have 290 followers, but that's 20 different servers. So these are all the different servers that that people, I ran a little script. So my key lives on all these servers, and that includes 2 other protocols besides @proto. We've got following across protocols, which is really exciting, and that's Wafern, a really fun Tumblr clone run by these. Well, I know the Spanish guys. There's other guys too. They're really fun, and their network speaks @proto and ActivityPub, and then ActivityPub as well. You can follow across networks. So imagine meeting someone, right? Right now you meet someone and you do that dance like, oh, let's connect. Are you on WhatsApp? And then the person's like, I'm on WhatsApp, but I'm not really active on WhatsApp. Imagine not having to do that dance anymore, because I'm most active on LinkedIn because I'm boring, but you can all follow me wherever you do your shit, right? That shouldn't matter.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. So quality over quantity. Did that answer? Yeah, was there a question hanging? Okay. So true, like kind of meaningful decentralization. 20 different servers, including a lot of people who host their own stuff, including me hosting my own stuff with burners and then following myself. Exercise for the audience. Anybody spot the Web3? We got a little XYZ action. Jack, you know Thomas, right? This is Thomas. He's a good guy. And then quality over quantity, because it's small right now. 2 of my followers have Wikipedia pages, because there's a lot of really, it's kind of crazy. @proto is really small right now, but there are some really amazing engineers who are bought in because they get it. They've drunk the Kool-Aid like I have. So quick tour. How are we doing on time? Oh yeah, we're doing killer on time. This is probably gonna be 35 minutes, and then we'll have a chance to you can vouch your own social network, and then we can go eat lunch. Farcaster, who's on Farcaster? Farcaster, I think, has great payment rails incorporated with their social network. I went to a dinner at DevConnect in Argentina, and we made Pancreas, which was a coin. And it just was very easy. And I was new to Farcaster, so I was like, sorry, I don't know how to do that. And so then Justin was like, oh yeah, what's your handle? And he just sent me $5. And he's a super user. She hosts the Good Morning Farcaster. Like these were super users, but it was very impressive how quickly we could have a little walking around money on social media. And Farcaster does that, I think, really well. ActivityPub, that's Mastodon. These ActivityPub, the server is king. So it's its roots are really interesting. Its roots come, it's a W3C standard, and its roots come from like the OG, like, you know, how nerds used to talk in the 90s, and it like slowly built. It's a really interesting history. But because the server is king, you get these really awesome intentional communities from like I think the biggest ones are in the millions, and then you've got this like beautiful like little like mid-size 1 to 10,000 people social networks. I'm in the Forkiverse. It's really fun. It's hard fork and search engine podcast fans, and it's just like a really nice vibe. It's like I've never seen anything bad happen on the Forkiverse, so it's kind of nice. Nostr, who knows Nostr? So if you're a software engineer, you probably had a job where there's prod, there's release candidate, there's dev, and like on dev, anything goes. Nostr is dev. Nostr is truly decentralized. If you want to learn about the problem space of social media, learn about Nostr. It's really kind of, it's like beautifully simple. It's all just dumb clients and then really beefy relays, but that are also really dumb. And nip is like a pip for Python. All Nostr is people saying, hey, maybe it should work like this. And then the community can say, yeah, we'll implement that, or no thanks, we won't implement that. So it's like kind of beautifully decentralized, and because of that, you get all these people doing all kinds of crazy stuff. You get really cool stuff like Web of Trust, like all the other, and Web of Trust is like, the TLDR is the idea is like, you know, like on LinkedIn, who can DM you on LinkedIn? People who pay LinkedIn. But with Web of Trust, for a total stranger, you would be like, all right, who that I follow follows them. You kind of use the social graph intentionally. So all the social networks talk about it. Nostr, somebody just did it, right? Because it's dev. And then @Proto, as we all know, is liberal Twitter. But it's more than just, it is liberal Twitter. But it's more than liberal Twitter. You see liberal Twitter, I see 40 million Merkle trees, right? The engineering team has a policy, no steps back, which basically meant they put a lot of their time and their venture capital money to making a really smooth experience so that an average person doesn't even realize that it's decentralized under the hood. And for me, I want social media that like my family, like all my family uses. I think there's a place for the Nostrs, like Nostr is kind of fun, but I want something that regular people can use without thinking about, and Blue Sky and @Proto passes that test. The thing that will get you hooked on @Proto, so there's a concept, every user has a personal data server, which is dumb, and it just holds all your records, which includes your likes, your follows, your music, your everything, your posts. You get that, you stream it, you do like a streaming architecture, and then you aggregate that into big chunky relays, and then suddenly you have a distributed database. And to make an app, to make a pretty sophisticated social app, that's now just a materialized view on a database. And so when you get that, you'll go, whoa. Because it's like, it's really cool. It's really clever. And if it was Steve Ballmer, he would be like, you know, that like composable. Before I put this in, I was like, I checked, Steve Ballmer's not in the Epstein files. And that's a credit to him, because you know he was invited. But so like he said, developers composable. So like the thing that breaking it out into pieces gets you is that people can participate in small ways, and it's really cool. So what can you build? I'm going to show you what I built. jklb.social. So this is what I think social media should be. And that's all it is. It's just a prototype, right? So I thought social media should have one post at a time. So I show one post at a time. I thought I would lurk less if the sociable actions were easier. So I made it key binding. So I just liked a post. I really like this podcast, so I'm going to boost it. It's that easy. And then J and K takes you back and forth. So these are my opinions. And then as I was building, because the protocols and LLMs make it so easy, I just kept having fun. Profile pictures should be bigger. Look, you can actually see Rudy, right? And what's that? That's Rudy's cover photo on the background, right? And so I just kind of started having fun with it. And then we'll take it to the end. People have great cover photos. Cover photos are like I like now love cover photos, and they're like hidden away on the profile view, so I'm making them more things. This is one of the developers. Yeah, they're working on it. They're working on permissioned. They're talking about permission data because private data is such a problem. Like, it's a real problem. Like, you can't have a social network without private data, because when everything's public, it's just too much. So they're working on it. And then so this is my social. And just to like show you a couple other things that AppProto makes possible, is the music playing? I need to turn on the music. So this is what I mean by composability. I decided it would be fun to have music. I didn't have to add music myself. There's already music on AppProto. So all I have to do is I have to basically say to my user, when you give me permission to read and write on your behalf, hey, I saw you got some tunes there. You want to play your tunes while you use my app? It's kind of that easy, right? And then this is the atmosphere report. So like these are other apps and they all have their own lexicons. And a lexicon is basically just a file format. This is what, Randall, I wanted, like when you were giving your talk yesterday, like the personal data server and lexicons could get you a lot. It's not like cryptographic, it's not anything, but just in terms of letting you stake your claim in the ground, this is the thing I'm doing. You just define a lexicon, and it's that easy. So that's about all I want. Oh, and then this, again, I was just having fun with it. This is the like chorus. These are all the people who have most recently interacted with me on social media. Keep them there, because social media can feel lonely. You feel like nobody sees you. But hey, these people see you. Look, they see you. How are we doing on time? We're doing good on time. Thank you.
I want that.
Yeah. You can sign up. 40 million people can sign up because I interoperate. Actually, and I didn't even show you. jklb.social, and it's multi-protocol. This is jklb.social on the Activity Pub. And Scouts Honor, is this what Scouts do? What's the Scouts Honor? Any Boy Scouts, any Cub Scouts? Scouts Honor, thank you. Scouts Honor, I ported to a second protocol because my Claude credits were running out. And it did it overnight, and it was about an hour of manual work. And it's not perfect. Like there's no music, there's not all that stuff. But when the protocols are truly open, you get these snowballs rolling down. So things like this become just like easy. And what I imagine for jklb.social is what it really could be is it's a way of consuming feeds, and if your feed is open enough, jklb.social will work on it. So now now we're into the action items section of the talk. What I learned porting to my second protocol is that there's two hard things about jklb.social: authentication and then the soft skills, the network buy-in, right? So just throwing it out there, if you're a Farcaster diehard, or you're a Nostr diehard, or you have another protocol you like, come find me. And I would love to it would be really cool to see if with someone's network knowledge, we could add a third protocol, just on a lark. I put that out there. And then another thing, my hosting costs for jklb.social are literally $0.00 because of composability. Composability means the AppProto company, they do the expensive part. The expensive part of social media is maintaining the up-to-the-minute indices of fucking everyone's posts and everyone's like follower list. That's the expensive part. They do that for free. It's like, you know that movie, There Will Be Blood? No. What's the one with Daniel Day-Lewis, the oil one? Is that There Will Be Blood? And he's like, I drink your milkshake. I'm drinking their milkshake right now. Like they're doing the expensive part, and I'm just coming in at the end and like, I'm literally, because it's all open. And so they're doing the crazy expensive part, and then I'm at the end like, ooh, Yeah, let me do that. And I do it all on Cloudflare free tier. And I really, like, I've looked into it. I'm gonna stay on Cloudflare. If I have to leave Cloudflare free tier, that means like my life has changed. I'll be on like Time Magazine cover. Like that's how big it would have to get. Because it's only the front end. There is no back end. Because I use someone else's back end, right? More action items. Because again, like this is an appeal. Don't get on Open Social to get 100,000 followers. Get on Open Social because it's exciting and because you want to make the world a better place, right? Today. Eventually, the good things I hope will come. So is social media part of your career? Open Social is a hedge. Open Social is a hedge, right? Mark Zuckerberg doesn't like you, right? Reid Hoffman is worried about his Epstein shit. He's not thinking about how to make LinkedIn better for you, right? So when you go on Open Social, you're actually like your incentives are aligned with the network. And then another thing you can do, I put jkesimons.com everywhere I can. I join something, I make it my literal profile if they'll let me. If they won't, I'll put it in the description. And does that make sense when I say my domain is my handle? Because that's a subtle point, right? So I'm seeing some nodding, I'm seeing some, okay, I'll explain. So the check marks on social media, right? There's an interesting story behind that. That was Twitter solving the problem of impersonations. But check marks are kind of awkward because what, is one human going to decide what's important and what's not important? It doesn't scale and people get mad at the human who made the decision, right? So another solution is if one DNS already solves the problem, right? One person owns NewYorkTimes.com. So what Nostr and AppProto do is they ask, hey, what's your handle? And by the way, it can be a domain. And I say, my handle's jkesimons.com. Now you could do that too. You could sign up and you could be like, I'm jkesimons.com. But then what Blue Sky and Nostr do is they say, cool, and then they go check. And so what I do is I put a text file in my DNS hosting with my decentralized ID, with my little like social security number for the internet. And then they're like, they check it, and then they're like, yep, he's jkesimons.com. And now I'm jkesimons.com. I want to be jkesimons.com for the rest of my life, right? Cool. Are you a builder? More action items. Spend an afternoon, right? I really mean it. Like the LLMs love, there are these beautiful dense specifications. LLMs love that shit, right? And then does what you're building have an identity layer? You're probably already doing sign in with Google, and you should, because everyone can do that. But think about adding sign in with AppProto, sign in with Nostr, sign in with ENS. The people who are already on Open Social will love that and might join your, like I join things because I can use my AppProto because I like that, because it's also a signal that they're interested in the community, right? And I know you're probably saying to yourself like, but Jake, I'm so tired. I can't, that's great what you're saying, but I can't do another one. And I get that, right? There were more people at the 100,000 followers event than there are at this event because like, come on, it's exhausting. It is exhausting. And I'm asking you to make another account or make a bunch, but this time could be different, right? So this is an essay by Anuj Ahuja. And he works for the Bridgie company, not the company, they're a nonprofit, but like he makes a case in his piece there that once you rip the identity layer out of these friggin' companies that own us, once you get just the identity part out, and that could be ENS, that could be Ethereum, that could be, Nostr is a key pair, you know? It could be as simple as a key pair, but it should be cryptographic. But there's lots of options now, but once you get that out of there, if you do it right, you never have to do that again, right? Because my identity is a decentralized ID. It's a W3C standard, right? So what they've done is there's a phrase in Open Social, locked open. Right, so just like you can go to sleep in your workout clothes and set an alarm for 6:45 because you know in the morning you're not going to want to go to burn. For the Open Social, what the AppProto people have done is they've made hard architectural decisions that cannot be undone. And so that identity kind of like, you know, like things could happen, but there's a chance that this could be the last identity that you ever need, which is kind of cool. So like it's crazy. Like 2026 is nuts, right? Like who thought we were getting LLMs? Like even like 5 years ago, who would have believed like that like you're gonna have computers that can talk to you and use the computer better? I don't know where all this is going, but since this is my talk, I am like throwing a couple things out there. So my predictions is that, and it's kind of already here. There's a slot apocalypse, right? And it's not getting better, right? And so open social is gonna keep maturing, right? This doesn't exist yet, but imagine a Claude scale, scrape my socials and see who's on the open network. You know, and that's gonna be a fight between the closed networks, which are not gonna try to not allow that, and then the LLM frontier. Good luck to those closed companies, because if they're gonna have humans on their network, how are you gonna keep the scrapers, the LLMs off, right? So they can get innovators' dilemma, right? They have a huge problem and they're making too much money to solve the problem. And so I really do believe that the primitives, like the building blocks of when you want to do a thing in the world, instead of it's a Discord server and a Luma event, there are going to be better primitives. And how are you going to build them? You're going to build them on the place where you can just do things, and that's open protocols. And what might you want to do, right? You might want to do web of trust. You might want to use LLMs aggressively. Please not as content creator. I don't want to see that unless you like market or whatever, but like you want to be aggressive with LLMs, go for it. You want interoperability between networks, so I wanted music in my app, I can have it. You want interoperability within networks. You can also get it between networks. I want to follow people on LinkedIn, but I never want to check LinkedIn, right? You want composable moderation. You want decentralized ID. You want diverse business models. This is an article of faith, but you gotta believe that if people are gonna pay, people pay LinkedIn, right? People pay Twitter. People will pay for a good product. You just gotta kind of trust that. And then you can get social graphs that reflect intentionality and reality. So like that pancreas, that like meme coin that we made on Farcaster, that's a social graph, right? It's financial, kind of, but it's more a social graph, right? We all just like put a couple bucks in, and now there's a chain of custody for this dinner we had, right? And end-to-end encryption where you want it. And like closed social really kind of is feudalism. Like people say that, and when I first heard it, I kind of was like, okay, like this person's making a point, like, all right, like very clever, you're saying that it's bad, feudalism's bad, social media's bad, but like actually, like you don't own the thing, and you're like, please sir, may I post? Sir, I've posted, please show my posts to others, right? So what can open social be? I would settle for capitalism, right? I'm hoping for something better, right? I hope for something better, but capitalism would be an improvement. All right, I'm gonna juggle real quick. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is gonna do great on social. Yeah. Tape it. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. We got that one. We got this. Thank you. And now, thank you. Yeah, clap. I'm gonna do 5. So I gotta I didn't scout out. I meant to juggle in the room before, but I haven't done it yet. So we're gonna do 5, and I have room. The trick to 5 is it's all about like the speed and the height. So it's not any harder, but you do kind of need the environment. Okay. All right. Last slides. All right, it's not over yet. Why juggling? Okay, so you've seen street performers, right? Kind of. I tried to become a street performer. I street performed like a few times. It's really hard. So I was a theater performer. I still am like a performer. But I thought, I'm a theater performer, how hard can street performing be? I also heard you can make good money at it, which is true. If you have like a tight act, you can make good money, cash money in hand, in fun places around the world. That's why I wanted to do it. But it's hard. Street performing is hard. It's hard to describe how hard it is, because basically, like, people walk away from you, right? In a theater, like, maybe there was a moment during this talk where it was a little bit boring and you were like, man, I kind of wish I hadn't come to this, right? And but if I walk out, like, you're gonna have to walk right by me. You're kind of trapped right now. And because you're a little bit trapped, yeah, you could go that way, but still, I would see you, the sound, like, it's like, know, the sound of the chair, like everybody looks, it's awkward, right? I have you a little bit trapped, and because I have you a little bit trapped, I can relax. And I can say what I want to say, and I can know that if I lose you, I'll get you back, right? But if I'm a street performer, my whole job is keeping your attention on me. That's my whole job. And as a result, street performing is kind of like, if you've seen two street performers, you've seen every street performer, because they're all the same. It's like they have some big prop, and they don't use it yet, but they're like engaging the audience, and they're like, I'm about to do this, and then they do a funny thing, and then I'm about to do this, kind of like I did when I was like, I'm about to do 5, but I have your attention because I've made this promise, right? So that's what social media is like, because all the posts have to fight with each other, and it's just chaos, and so all any of us are doing, and it's a performance, social media is a performance, all any of us are doing on social media is trying to get and hold attention, right? I'm an American. Like, the executive branch of my government, I think like 90% of what they're focused on is getting and keeping attention. And they're kind of good at it, you know, at that part, right? But so what we need in the world is online spaces which are the equivalent of in real life theaters. And so we need to think about that. And I think that's the last slide. I'm on most socials, that's my website. And I thought, since we're all here, it's 11:39. This is a time for questions. This is a time that if you have a network that you love, this is a chance to say, I love this one and this is why. And also it's a chance to do bit chat. And isn't bit chat cool? And it only works when other people do it. So Randall, did you have a question?